It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Glen Affric Brewery, and it's a collaboration with the Craft Beer channel on YouTube, and it's a can of the metric Tunnicks. Remember the Tunnicks bars? The lovely little caramel wafer bars from Scotland. Yeah, it's an Imperial Stout coming in at 9.5% ABV, brewed with 8 malts, and I like the sound of this. No adjuncts, no adjuncts. Collaboration beer then, it's coming in at 9.5% ABV in a 440 milliliter can. Without further ado, let's get the can out into a glass and see what we get. Little bit of smoke on the can opening, beer in the glass. I just finished watching their brew video this afternoon on this. The guys at Glen Affric Brewery were very kind enough to send me a few of these beers for review. You can hear the carbonation hissing and fizzing. You can see the carbonation. It was a one finger tan coloured head, but I'm not too worried about the head dissipating too much. It is an Imperial Stout, and the higher the ABV, my experience anyway, the higher the ABV, the less likely you're going to have to create a head on an Imperial Stout. But it looks really good. Jet black beer in the glass. Let's get the aroma. So they want it to taste like a Tunnicks bar. You've probably seen them. Certainly if you're of my generation, 41 years old I am, you buy them in a 5-pack. Really, what I remember of a Tunnicks bar is that they're covered in chocolate. I haven't had one in years, to be honest. And then you kind of like bite into it, and if they're cold, they snap on your back molars and you can crunch it down. But if they're slightly warm, if you eat one in the summer, they're sticky and gloopy and lovely, and whoa, I love a Tunnicks bar. I'm picking up a lot of caramel, a little bit of chocolate, not artificial chocolate. There's no adjuncts in this beer, and I think this is the real art of brewing. When you can say, it's so easy to throw some cacao nibs and all the other stuff that go, and I've done it in the past. I've brewed a mint chocolate Imperial Stout. We used mint and we used cacao nibs, and it was a great tasting beer. But what they've done here is that they've managed to do it with just malt, and that is a true art. For me, that is a true art in brewing. I'm picking up a slight, obviously the chocolate, the coffee, the caramel from the roasted malt. It's like spiciness as well, and pepperiness. Maybe that's the hops that they've used in the beer. Anyway, let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. It's nice, but I'm gonna totally agree with the guys on the Craft Beer channel, because if you watch to the end of the video, they actually do their own tasting of the beer over Skype or whatever it is, Zoom or something. The two guys, Johnny and Brad, are doing a tasting, and they describe the beer as being slightly thin, and I'm going to agree to that. It is thin for an Imperial Stout. It definitely is. And he described it as being quite bitter, and it is quite bitter, and that's coming from a combination of the hops that they've used in the beer and the roasted malt that they've added to the beer. When you roast a lot of malt, you get that kind of like bitter coffee, kind of bitter dark chocolate. bitterness on the back end. It's an interesting one though, because I still love the concept. It would have been so easy to have gone, we'll chuck some cocoa in this and all sorts of ice cream kind of concentrates, which is so easy to do. The fact that they've proudly on the front of their can put 8 malts and no adjuncts, I think that speaks loudly. That speaks loudly for what they really wanted to achieve. There's enough carbonation. There's enough carbonation that pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. Chocolate, coffee, caramel, bitterness, lots of bitterness, lots of bitterness. They've saved some of this beer back. I think I'd be really interested to. They're making a barrel aged version of this beer. They're going to stick some in a barrel and let it age in a barrel for, I don't know, maybe they take it out at Christmas or something like that. So a 6 month barrel aging process. I think that will make the beer interesting. I think with the addition of whiskey or whatever spirit they use, I'm not sure if it's going to add, I don't think it'll add any body to the beer. I think the body is lacking. It really is lacking. I always say when I drink stouts and imperial stouts is that it's a natural flavour, the chocolate, the coffee, the caramel. And when you think of a big thick coffee or a big thick caramel latte or a piece of caramel, it's sticky and gloopy, and a latte and a latte macchiato in Italy anyway they call them, is a big long kind of milky coffee. And of course then, yeah, that milk chocolate, if you think of milk chocolate, if it's warm it melts in your hands, melts in your mouth. Because you're tasting those flavours, it almost makes sense to make a big fat bold mouthfeel on the beer. I think what it's lacking is loads of oats. I think they should have put a load of oats in this beer, and that would have really kind of made this beer have a fantastic mouthfeel. But it's still very good. It's still very good, and I'm going to say it again, I like the fact that they've proudly put no adjuncts on here. They've gone with brew craft, proper brew craft, rather than kind of take the shortcut and stick all sorts of chocolate powder, and you know, it would have been so easy to do. I'm going to be appearing on the Craft Beer channel's live feed on Saturday the 11th of July. I think they're going to try and get me on at about 8 o'clock. I'll be posting this video the afternoon of the live feed going out. So I'll post this in the morning and we'll have a live feed in the evening. So if you want to see me on the Craft Beer channel at about 8 PM, then yeah, check it out. Check it out, it should be really good. You all know the Craft Beer channel. You all know them guys over there. Good guys. Right, let's rate it. Love the thought, love the idea, fantastic branding on the can, interesting to see what the barrel aged version tastes like. For me, if you're watching this in 2 years time, then I reckon Glen Affric Brewery will rebrew this beer, and I reckon they will adjust how this beer is. This is what good brewers do. They can always tweak the recipe and improve things, and I'm sure they'll be in correspondence with Johnny and Brad from the Craft Beer channel. So I think if you taste this beer in, I don't know, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years time from the date of this video, which will be, yeah, Saturday the 11th of July, I think they'll put more oats in. They'll put an awful lot more oats into this Imperial Stout, and they'll give it a massive fat body. But for this version, it's lacking on the body, and it's quite bitter. But I'm okay. I'm okay with the bitterness on an Imperial Stout, because, as I mentioned earlier, roasted malt will give you a lot of bitterness, and so will the hops. So I'm okay. I'm okay with the bitterness. It's the mouthfeel that lets this down a little bit. But I'm going to rate it. I'm still going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.